The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon and welcome to Alarm Corp's webinar for today. My name's Jeff Rushton and I'll be taking you through our SALTO offline access control system. Before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. For the duration of the webinar, you will be muted. Also, you'll see a hand icon near the software, the GoToWebinar software. If you wouldn't mind clicking that, just to show that you can both hear me and see the screen, that would be great. Okay, excellent. Again, the fact that you'll be muted throughout the course of this webinar, if at any stage that you have a question, please feel free to type it in and hit the send button down the bottom. Preceding or at the end of this webinar, I'll answer any questions as well as hang around for a few extra minutes if you have any additional questions that didn't come up during the webinar. Based on that, we'll get started. A little bit of history, I guess, on SALTO Systems, if you're not aware of the organization. They haven't been around that long. They've been around since 2000 and was created by a group of industry people that have certainly experience solely in access control systems. This company does everything from start to finish. It does its research, development, manufacturing, marketing and sales of the complete range of products that you're going to see here today. SALTO is based in Spain and they're represented through just about the majority of European and Western countries. They have two offices here in Australia as well, both in Sydney and Melbourne. And as I said, their organisation does everything from the research through to the manufacturer. They've got in excess of 10,000 projects on their books now and have sold in excess of 1 million of their electronic locks worldwide. So this is quite a proven product as well, although relatively new for us, have quite a few obviously locks and history under their belt at the moment. In terms of what SALTO believe or what we believe the market for the SALTO product is, I suppose it's in four main segments: education, commercial, government and healthcare. But hopefully you'll see that there is abundant opportunity for this product in all other areas of not only access control but of lock or master key replacement systems. Just one very quick slide on some of their references that they have. They have many universities under their belt. Certainly airports are large for the SALTO business and lots of larger commercial or corporate customers. Let's have a bit of a talk about their wire-free networked system. And this uses the concept of data on card. The next few slides will go through and try and explain that to the best of my ability, and that will give you a really good indication on how these products, these range of products, actually work. So we're going to say that you get about 90%, certainly with the wire-free system. The only thing that you really don't get, as opposed to with a hardwired system, is you do not get alarms. You don't get door force or door open too long alarms. It is purely an access control system that allows you to configure who, when and how gets access into each of these doors. So let's have a look at the way that the data on card does its job. For those of you familiar with access control systems, the three typical scenarios of who you are, your access level, in other words, what doors are you authorized to access, and time zone, what time periods of the day or the week are you allowed access. All three of those questions are asked by the lock and answered by the card in this particular case. So who you are, the card will say what its card number is. Are you authorized? The card will tell the lock that it's authorized for that particular door, and the lock knows what time and date that it currently is, even though it's totally wireless, and can determine obviously if the card is valid at that particular time. At that stage, the door is unlocked. The audit trail for that transaction is stored both on the lock and on the card. And in this particular case, it's sending a message to the card that's saying that the battery is getting a bit low and needs to be replaced. The card will accept that information, and in this particular case is giving a message back to the lock that's saying, hey, I've got an updated card blacklist, and you need to, in this case, make sure that Tim Simon's card won't open if it showed up. So every time that one of these cards is presented at a lock, it will update the lock with the latest blacklist of cards that have been lost, stolen, or voided out of the system. As you go around other offline locks, the same procedure happens time and time again. The audit trail is built up onto the card. The blacklist that was on the card is transferred to all of the readers that you go around, and a battery state is also sent from every lock to the card on every transaction. How does this information get back and get updated, whether it be updated on the PC or how does the information get updated from the card to the reader? At various places on an installation, certainly you need at least one, what we would call online or update reader. That reader is connected via Ethernet back to your network, back to your PC, and back to your software that's used to program this system up. The purpose of that online reader is obviously to update the card with any details that have changed from the PC software, or of course to update the PC with the list of audit trails and battery messages that were received from each of the card readers. This reader can also be used to open a door and would ask all the normal questions that would be asked when the card is presented to it. So again, same details, who you are. It says, where have you been? So now it's uploading the event buffer from the card, the audit trail that said it went to room 101 on time and date. Have you got any other information? Yeah, room 101 has low batteries. Some action needs to be taken there. The software will then update the card. It says, well, we've changed your access plan. We've now given you 24 more hours that the card is valid for, and we've updated your access privileges. You've now got access to a new room. And during the time that you last updated, Mrs. Smith has lost her key, She's now blacklisted. Please take note of that. It says, okay, I've recorded it, and off it goes. So the next time that card is used at another lock, that blacklist is further updated. There is no longer any history transactions or audit trail on the card, so there is room for new activity that and that process starts time and time again. Each of these products, or that scenario, is available on the full range of SALTO wire-free products. There is a full range of escutcheon locks here in various styles, shapes, sizes and colours, as well as there is an electronic cylinder version. They've actually just released a new version for Australian locks called the Geo. It's about half the size of the unit that's there, and basically fits into the majority, if not all, of the Lockwood mortise locks. So you can happily replace an existing lock with one of these cylinders and have exactly the same control as you have on each of the escutcheon readers, or their panic bar readers, or it's also available in a standard reader and controller version. For those where you're not controlling the door directly, you might need to access something else, like in this case the entry gates, or it might be a standard door where you want to put a standard strike on. You can have it also, again, this is all wire free, other than the wire between the reader and the control unit, and power, and it will operate in exactly the same way for those installations where an escutcheon lock won't suffice. And it's also available in a small locker lock. So with the locker lock you get additional features that allow you to either program the lock that you must use your card on locking and unlocking, or potentially they are all three open and you just use your card to lock the locker. So it gives you quite a variety of options with each of these style of SALTO locks to use your offline system. So we've spoken about I suppose, what we would call the wire-free version. It's totally offline. What advantages or what can you see is some advantage of this particular product, and how best will it work on certain sites? So I've got here the speed of updating the readers is best on sites that, first of all, have a large number of card holders. You can imagine the more card holders that are there, the more frequently the locks are getting updated. So the blacklist is getting transferred more often, and the more card readers, or the more card holders, the more real time that the updating occurs. If you've got more online readers, I said you need at least one. If you could have an online reader at every entry or exit point, the front door, the car park, then you know that as someone is coming on site or as someone is leaving site, that both the blacklist is being updated and the audit trail is being removed from the card, and obviously stored via the software. It would also work best where the doors that you're using are frequently accessed. So the more activity on a door, the more updating that occurs. So certainly that's where this system works absolutely the best. What advantages are there with this? Well, with no cabling, you've now reduced your installation time by a fraction of a hardwired system. We've said it's about 50% the cost all up. To install one of these on a door might take you 15 or 30 minutes, as opposed to half a day, typically, depending on the cabling run and the door furniture. So the installation time is much quicker. It's much easier to expand. You don't have to run cables. You just go to the door and install the lock. The hardware costs of this system are considerably cheaper than any traditional hardwired access control system. And we also has full integration with a product, an access control product called SIPASS that we also distribute. But we're mainly talking about the standalone version of the product here today. What disadvantages could you see with this particular version of the product? That obviously there's a delay between updating or deleting information on the PC and it being available at the door. If you had critical doors where you had a SALTO offline reader and the customer really wanted to ensure that after he updated a cardholder's privileges or removed an employee, that reader got updated immediately, he could happily take his own card up to an online reader, badge it, and then badge it at the door in question or the doors in question to make sure that that information has been updated immediately. As I said earlier, this version of the system doesn't have any alarm points. It is purely an access control door. There is no reed switches, no door forced, no door open too long alarms on this product. And also the audit trail requires the card to be badged at an online reader. Or every installation would also have a plug-in programmer. It is possible that if, let's say, your card has built up an audit trail of where it's been, and then it gets lost, stolen, or damaged, and if it's not badged in an online reader, you would think that that audit trail is lost. You can go up to any reader, plug in your programmer, it will upload all of the audit trail from the lock to the programmer, go back to your computer, plug it in. That audit trail will then be integrated in with the audit trail within the software. So you do not lose any audit trail information by having the card go missing. So that's the wire-free version. So it's offline, no cables, yet has the ability by using the data on card technology to update each of the readers. There's another version of this product, and that is the wireless version of the same locks. Any of the locks that we've seen either currently have got a wireless capability or will have wireless capability very, very soon in the near future. What does wireless add to this product? Let's go through and have a look at some of I suppose, the features of the wireless SALTO product. We can now control and monitor our entire access control network, much the same as we can with a complete online system. We can delete keys, download audit trail, all in real time. So as you do it, that information will get transferred to the card reader, or any activity at the card reader will be sent to your software in real time. We can do all of this without wires. We can also remotely open any of these wireless doors, or we could lock down any of these wireless doors as well. So we can do this online, in real time, using a complete battery-operated system, using the standard RF technology that's used on wireless systems. The SALTO wireless system can handle up to 64,000 users and up to 64,000 doors in a single system. The wireless version can happily, or any system can happily incorporate the offline or the wireless doors in a system. We can configure and make changes to any of the escutcheons in the network. We can delete users, check the status of our network. With our real-time audit trail, now we can track users around a building. And as I said previously, we could open or lock down a door in real time. The SALTO system, as I've said, is still uses, with the wireless system, still uses exactly the same technology and the same philosophy with the data on card. But now that data is stored not only in the card reader and transferred in real time to the software, but stored on the card as well. So as a further backup, both systems work hand in hand and together with the offline logs. We've said here that it uses, in this case, standard batteries. The power consumption with the wireless version is very similar to that of the offline system. With the offline lock, you can get about 48,000 activities before the battery will require changing. With the wireless version, you get about 40,000 transactions before the battery will require changing. How does it work? Well, we've got a system of gateways and repeaters around, which I'll show you in a couple of slides' time. So we're using standard RF technology, so approvals aren't an issue. It is using encryption over the wireless network, and the data frames expire. So the level of security between the lock and the gateway is extremely high. As we've said before, the system is very easy to install. There's no expensive infrastructure. The repeaters or the gateways just plug into your existing network system. Each of the gateways or repeaters can work. 15 meters is a little bit light on. We've had them work up to 40 or 50 meters away, and for every wireless gateway or wireless repeater, it can control 15 doors. As we've said, it's extremely cost effective when compared with a hardwired, traditionally installed access control system. And I've stated that the battery consumption is very low on this product. So 3 typical elements of the wireless system. You've got your wireless lock. You have the gateway, which is connected on your Ethernet network. You can have a repeater, which has got nothing more other than plugged into a power source. So the repeater extends the range of the gateway. And of course, you have your platform, your software, your computer plugged onto the same network that is receiving the information from the gateway and the repeaters, and having that bi-directional communication with the wireless locks. So to summarize the wireless version, it's encrypted. It uses all of the standard smart card technology. It's real time. We can delete user cards on the fly, and we can open or lock down any of these wireless doors in real time. The gateways and repeaters, as I said, can handle multiple locks, up to 15. We've said here easy installation of 10 minutes. After you've done a few of these, 10 minutes would be a typical sort of time. I would have said 15 minutes to 20 minutes. Typically, if you're not familiar with the style of a escutcheon lock, typically there is no need to change the mortise lock. And if your customer is using existing RFID cards, they can be accommodated to work on this system also. Only points I haven't mentioned that are here is self-organizing and self-healing. The wireless network looks after itself. It will find and identify the locks. There's very little you need to do from the software perspective to set them up. And as I've said, yes, up to 15 locks per gateway. The wireless system comes in two versions. One is what we call wireless ready. That is, it, with the addition of a wireless card, will turn any offline lock into a wireless lock. Or of course you can buy it with that wireless module already inbuilt to talk to a gateway or a repeater. The software for whether it be the offline or the wireless version of product all looks very much the same, all programs exactly the same, and from my experience is not missing any of the features that you would typically find in a hardwired access control system. The schedules for times, which is the display shown here, is extremely flexible. The ability to add users, attach photos, print ID cards are things that are all inbuilt into the software. The ability to connect your programmer that allows you then to take that programmer out to a door, plug it in, and then either download the program for that door or upload the event log, or in fact do diagnostics on the lock if there's an issue. Or the ability to plug in, whether it be a USB or network smart card programmer. So then from here you can place your card on top of the programmer and program the details into that card. If you're using the network version of that programmer, it would allow you to have, let's say, the software and the operation and control of your system, let's say in Sydney, but you've got a remote office, let's say in Melbourne, where you don't want to have control, but you want to be able to issue cards out from. So you can have a network controlled programmer and blank cards on site, and when you add or change an employee, the card is placed on the programmer, the program button is hit here, and then that card is programmed, so there are no postage or delays in getting a new or a new employee an access card. There are loads of other features with this software. If you would like more information, I can happily send you the manuals or the data sheets so you can see exactly what this product is capable of. And certainly if you would like to receive more information, you can happily go to the Alarm Corp website, or for anything on this presentation, probably the best resource is SALTOSystems.com. You'll be able to have a look at each of the products and download data sheets from there. If you'd like more information, you can contact myself at jmr@alarmcorp.com.au, or in the southern region, Steve Dinger on spd@alarmcorp.com.au. or you can use the contact phone numbers that are there. There are a number of other webinars coming up for the remainder of the year. On our intrusion side, up until the end of the financial year, there's one next month on the perimeter security options that Alarm Corp sell. And there's a variety of CCTV webinars each month until the end of the year also. Information on these will be sent out an email to you. If you would like a copy of these beforehand, please feel free to send us an email, and I can send you a link to all of the webinars that are upcoming so you can register in advance. But emails will be sent out before each of these webinars and give you the opportunity to register as well. We are having a number of sales up until the end of the financial year as well. Prices aren't listed on here. If you'd like to a list of both of our intrusion and CCTV specials until June 31 or June 30, please email us or call us, and we can provide you all of the products and all of the pricing. But certainly we've got a special on most of the Aratech detectors and all of the Central read switches. You should find our pricing extremely competitive. Again, if you'd like to see those prices, please contact us. That concludes the webinar, but I will go through now and answer some of the questions that have been asked during the course of this, or if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them now, and I can hopefully give you the correct answer. First one is there a wireless version for the Locker Lock? At the moment, it's only available in the offline version. There will be one during before the end of this year, probably more towards the third quarter. Another question: if I lose the card, can I access the audit trail? As I stated, that if you're using the wire-free, the offline version of the product, you can happily take your programmer up to the lock, upload the audit trail, take that back to your computer, and then upload your software, upload the audit trail into your software. If you're using the Wi-Fi or wireless version of the product, you can do the same thing. All that audit trail is uploaded in real time and stored in your software as the transactions occur. So losing a card doesn't represent any loss of data. How long does the battery last? On the wire-free version, as I said, you can get up to 48,000 activities, and the unit will report a low battery well before the battery will fail. So it will probably give you the best part of a month to go out there and replace the battery. In the wireless version, you can get up to about 40,000 activities. So that's an enormous amount of transactions between battery changes on these products. How many locks will work on a single wireless gateway? You can have up to 15 locks connect to any individual gateway or repeater. The more locks you have, the more gateways or repeaters that you would be required to have also. Another question's just come in. Can I have door alarms with the wireless version? With the wire-free version, as I've stated, you can't. But with the Wi-Fi version, you get both door forced and door open too long, both in real time, and both going back to your software and coming up in real time, so they can be responded to immediately. So the answer is yes. On the Wi-Fi version, there's an input on the board for a read switch that allows for that functionality to happen. If there is nothing else, thank you for your time, and hopefully we'll see you on future webinars. So thank you and good afternoon.